It's all relationships. That's what I always tell people. People ask me, especially on LinkedIn, how did you go from women's basketball to the NBA? And I'm just like, to be honest, it's all about the relationships that you have with people, and if they're able to, if they want to put their name on the line for you.
Hi, I'm Corey Baldwin.
And I'm Dan Searle, and this is Off the Beaten Path, a podcast for basketball coaches, basketball fanatics, people who are living in obscurity, people who are coaching in obscurity, working in obscurity, and people who have made it out of obscurity. And our guest today is one of those.
Hey, it's a place for storytelling, learning, connecting, reconnecting, food for thought, and food for the belly. And today, without a doubt, we've got a guy who's made it off the beaten path. We have Tony Dukes with us, who's had a journey, an interesting one, I think, from Morrow, and went from there, played at different places, and now has gotten to the promised land of the NBA. So we'll let him tell a lot of that story that took to get there, and we appreciate you being on today, Tony.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me.
All right, so let's jump right in. Let's go with your playing days first. We were just talking before we came on. You were a camper at Clayton State, so that's kind of how we know each other.
Long time.
Yeah, that's right. But then, you kind of moved around a little bit. So give us a story. Where'd you go after Morrow High School, and kind of walk us through
Uh,
the journey?
After Morrow High School, I had a really good senior year, but still was really under recruited, underrated type of player. So wound up getting one offer out of high school at junior college, Atlanta Metropolitan. Um, Went there for a year, killed it for a year, was a qualifier, had the grades. So then I was looked at by South Carolina Upstate. Was real fortunate for that opportunity, and was able to just move on to, they really liked me, was able to go there for a year. Went there, played with Torrey Craig, who now was with Denver Nuggets, now with the Milwaukee Bucks, and built those good relationships. Coached under Eddie Payne. Really good system, everything, but just didn't work out for me. It just wasn't the right fit for me as a player at the time. Uh, then was able to come back home. Fortunate enough to go play for Coach Gibbons at Clayton State for 2 years, and just tried to get better as a player. Get allowed me to grow as a point guard, because I never really was able to, uh, play that position. I was pretty much just a spot up shooter at South Carolina Upstate. So, it was allowed me to grow and really learn the game under Coach G. Um, then from transferring so many times, I didn't finish school. I wanted to go play overseas, but I was like, I'm not going to go overseas and risk not finishing and get my undergrad. So I went ahead and finished up that next year. And during that time, I was player development with my godfather, Dorian Lee, with B-Ball 101 in Atlanta, and was just training different players, college pros, high school kids, just really trying to, get better. And along with not knowing what I wanted to do, if I wanted to play overseas or not, just staying in shape and, just growing my knowledge around the game of basketball and player development. Um, and was fortunate 2 years later to have been training, and we trained one of the top girls in the nation at the time, Asia Durr, who wound up going to the University of Louisville. Um, and Coach Walls, who came into town to watch her work out, happened to see me training some kids and was like, man, we could really use somebody like you. And at the time, I was debating whether I wanted to go overseas or go get my master's. And he was like, man, we got a GA position available. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm all ears now. I'm interested. So went up there, got a chance to talk to him, see the campus, see the girls team, and essentially fell in love. And next thing you know, I was moving to Louisville. So uh, was there, got my master's in sport admin, got accepted into the program, and he really gave me a lot of freedom to, work with the girls, player development, and just pretty much just let me have them and build that relationship with the girls or whatever. And they loved me, I loved them. We had a pretty good 2.5 years while I was there. After I graduated, he was trying to get me on as a full-time coach on staff. But it was just going through a lot of things in university with the whole Patino situation, unfortunately, and it was just hard to get some advancement to try to get me on. So what happened was I had during the season of my last year there, I know Jay Hernandez, who was a assistant coach for the Orlando Magic, and one of my good friends, Evan Fournier, who plays for the Magic as well. He was in. They were about to play preseason in Indianapolis, and it's only like an hour and a half away. So I said, "Yo, you want to leave some tickets to the game or what?" So I went up to the game and
Mhm.
talked to both of them afterwards, and Jay was just talking to me. He was like, still one of my biggest advocates to this day about helping me out in the league. He was just telling me, what do you do for Louisville, and what do you plan on doing now you're about to graduate? I was like, probably look for some girls basketball coaching job somewhere. And he was like, man, like you do video? I was like, man, I'm practically the video coordinator, just don't have the title. So he was like, what software do you use? I was like, Sport Code. He's like, we use Sport Code in the NBA. And I was like, really? He was like, well, we probably gonna have two openings here in Orlando, or one opening in Orlando. Um, I'll pass your information off because we look for guys who can hoop and who can do the video. So next thing you know, I was on a flight headed to Orlando meeting with Frank Vogel. And just, mind boggling, like just like wow and awe.
Click,
And
click, click.
got
Right.
yeah, so it's crazy. Got down there, didn't even know one of the assistant coaches down there was Chad Forcier. He actually was an assistant under Eddie Payne, and I think he said Oregon State, I believe.
Mhm.
And it just made that connection because he saw it on my resume, and like it was just like, man, it's just meant to be almost. So um, anyway, I didn't get the job with the actual Orlando Magic team, but Frank Vogel loved me enough and referred me to Anthony Parker, who was the GM of the Lakeland Magic, and Adetunji Adedipe, who was the assistant GM. And it was their first year in Orlando or Lakeland having a G League affiliate. And just got a chance to talk to them and built that relationship. And next thing you know, I was going down to be an assistant coach in the G League um, with the Lakeland Magic. So um, trying not to be too long-winded, but had a
No,
great
sure.
year. Got a chance to get my feet wet with the NBA guys that came down to play with us, the actual G League guys. Got a chance to work with them every day and build those great relationships with the coaching staff and Anthony Parker. They just gave me they were really open, and anything that I wanted to do and get my feet wet with, they allowed me because at this time I'm like just my first time in the NBA, world and trying to see like all the different opportunities that I can try to go after. Um, so anyway, I thought about being a scout. So I was like, well, how about you let me they let me actually write reports about players coming down from the NBA, and I actually sent that off. They actually sent my work to Frank Vogel and the GM and the president of the Orlando Magic. So like they're reading these player personnel reports every game that I write up. So it was just just trying to get my feet wet in all facets um, and just built those good relationships. If I had a day off, I'd go up to Orlando and go to a game, and Frank will say after the game, "Yo, come on, have a beer with, come have a beer with the staff."
Mhm.
So I go in there and just enjoy the moment. And anyway, after that, I was just under contract for a year, 6 months. But they offered me to go back another year, but I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to go to San Antonio. Um, Chad Forzier used to work for Coach Pop in San Antonio, and of
Hey,
course,
Tony, let's jump in here. because you're telling the podcast will be over by the time you're telling the story here. Maybe Corey can give us a quick recap so we don't lose our pace here. But
Yeah.
Morrow
Nice.
High School and summer camp, and what are these steps? This is outstanding already. We love
Yeah.
this. This is this.
Yeah.
You're in the right place. You're working your tail off. Good things happen. We
Man,
love
this is
Yeah.
awesome. So let's back up one step. You would have had one more offer out of high school, but you signed with Metro before I got the job down here. So I have to throw that in there. I have to throw that in there. Then you kick our tail twice. So when Upstate called, I made sure I gave the best ringing endorsement ever
Oh
of a
man, I
player
appreciate that.
that they've called about, right? I had to sell it good because I didn't want to have to coach against you again. But so you end up playing. Now you played for Pritchard at Metro, who was a long time coach. You played for Eddie Payne, another long time coach, and then you played for Gordon Gibbons, another long time coach. So before,
legends.
so before
For
we
sure.
jump into all the coaching moves you made, what did you take from those guys? Because I mean, they're experienced together. I mean, I'm not trying to make those guys give away their age there, but that's over 100 years of coaching with those three guys.
No, for sure. I mean, each coach had their different, uh, great things about them.
Mm,
But for sure, Coach G, like I said, I'll start from my most recent and go work my way down. But
mm,
Coach G just gave me just really was hard on me, put me in a situation, throw me in the fire as far as being that point guard for the team, being vocal and just handling the situation at hand because, I just never been in that type of environment. And we all know the Peach Belt is still just as competitive as even mid-major D1 or low-major D1. So
mm.
that was really good for me and just learning the game more of like a pro style type of offense. And of course, we all know the Coach G defensive philosophy. So just learning that part. And then Eddie Payne, it was it was also another growing moment for me because I never been in that moment. Playing all those big Division 1 schools, and just another one just throw me in the fire. It started off, my first game in D1 starting. So it's just like uh,
And don't sell yourself short. How many points did you have at Wake Forest?
not Wake at Michigan.
At
No,
Michigan.
at Virginia Tech I had 19, I believe. It's 5 for
Okay.
5 from 3.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I mean, I had pretty some pretty solid games, but yeah, I wish it would have went a lot different. We could have won more games, and I could have done a little bit better. Mentally, I allowed the whole situation just to get to me. And then at Pritchard, it was just a situation of just letting me go, like just let me go out there and do what I do best, and seeing if I can do it at the collegiate level. Um, so those are the biggest things that I got from each coach.
What did you take from those coaches and those experiences of your own as a player when you moved into the player development piece? Now it's one-on-one or it's small group work. How do you help those kids then transfer that learning into a game situation?
Well, for me, it was the biggest thing lesson that I wish I could go back in college on was the mentality, or the mental strength, um, and dealing with different personnel, coaches, head coaches, assistant coaches, and just knowing how to deal with them and attack them the same way they're attacking you, and wanting the most out of them the same way they want the most out of you. So,
Good stuff.
Why,
when
why
I'm
do you why do you use the word attack there? Tell us a little bit more about that.
because I mean, at the end of the day, it's all a business.
Okay.
And at the moment, being younger, you don't really see that. And now it's like, especially being at this level, you
Right.
see in the NBA, I see like a Rajon Rondo, which it's not in a disrespectful manner. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it's just a matter of they on the court you see things a lot differently than a coach may see on the sideline. And it's nothing wrong with that, and I understand because I've been there, done that, and it's just not necessarily being disrespectful, but just challenging and knowing like all right, coach, you are coach, but you ain't gonna run over me either, you know. So, you
Hmm.
know, and I'm still a alpha type of player. I'm not just gonna sit back and just take it, you know. So I just think those are all good qualities, you know, as long as there's a mutual respect and the relationship is in the point where you can handle those type of situations. I think it's really good.
So then you go on from training individually over to being a GA. How different was that from playing and training and always being kind of the vocal point of whatever's going on to now, a GA, you're going to do a lot of grunt work, you're going to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and now you're doing females as well. How did all that double change right there? How hard was that while trying to get your masters in a new living in a new place?
Yeah, well, the masters alone, the masters program was tough. Being out of school for a few years and then having to, you know, get my mind back around being in class and traveling and making sure I get my work done was a whole nother situation. But you know, just being able to be around the girls, um, and I had already had a few years of taking my mind off of being a player, and I think that actually helped. I didn't go straight from being a player to being a GA, and just like it wasn't like a culture shock because I was at a point mentally where it's just like I can. I mean, I don't look at my. I mean, I can still hoop if I wanted to. It's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, it doesn't hurt my feelings that I'm not the one that's got all the publicity around, the hype around. So, you know, I
That's a
was able.
hard transition for a player who's competed at those levels that you were at.
Absolutely,
That's a good point
absolutely,
that you were able to make that move mentally.
absolutely. And then the fact that it wasn't men, you know, like was no jealousy behind it because it's like they're girls, you know, they're women and they're playing women's basketball. I can't go out there and compete with them. Now, maybe I wouldn't say like maybe if I was on the men's side, I'd be like, man, I could really go out there and hoop. Man, I wish I was in that position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would probably been something different, but I didn't have to go through that. I just, you know, focused on the subject at hand and made sure I did what I had to do and learned as much as I could and was just you know, open mind, a sponge, and just do any and everything that I could to help the program.
You keep saying that, and it sounds like that same mentality is what got you in the door at Orlando, Lakeland. Uh, you didn't get that initial job at Orlando. You ended up with Lakeland, but you made an impression on Vogel enough to go out for beers after some of the Magic games, enough to be in LA right now. How did you do that? What did you do that? Is it your sparking personality? Was it a big smile? What do you do to make that
Mm-hmm.
connection?
I mean, you know, it's just I just always been this, you know, mild mannered, like, you know, and I think I just laid back sometime, and I believe, you know, as a player, that probably hurt me a little bit. And now it's just like transferring that into a more professional world and coaching. You know, I definitely use that, use who I am, just to always be who I am, and you know, talk to people, smile, have a conversation, and I just think that, you know, if they see your work and people can vouch for you, like I had no idea Corey vouched for me to this day until today. You know, so it's just like a lot of everyone talks.
To
So,
upstate,
you
there you
know,
go. Yeah, you leave an impression. Hmm.
Corey, if I never would have went to Upstate, I probably wouldn't have been with Orlando Magic if it weren't for you, because I never would have met Chad Forzier. You see how it works? So it's just, you know, it's all relationships. That's what I always tell people. People ask me, especially on LinkedIn, how did you go from women's basketball to the NBA? I'm just like, to be honest, it's all about the relationships that you have with people, and if they're able to, if they want to put their name on the line for you. So, you know, you always got to continue doing the work, working hard, but still be a person that people want to be around. So
So how was it for you when you got to the G League? Um, what kind of was G League life like for you? Walk us through that. Not everybody that watches this or that knows you may have been able to ask that yet. What was the G League life
It's
like
just
before we get
just
to
like the NBA, right? Not even close.
absolutely not. Uh, you know, going from Louisville women's basketball, even from the women's side down to the G League, not down, but you know, to the G League
it?
and being on the lower part,
No.
you know, it's just like at Louisville, the men's basketball, football were it was above, women's basketball. But we still had a pretty good experience. We still flew charter and stuff like that. It was still, relatively good. Just wasn't probably what the football players and the men's basketball players got. So I just looked at it as the same thing. We're here to get better. We're here to grow, and everybody's here to develop. Even the head coach, even the GM. Everybody's trying to get to that next level. So, um, it's not about having the charter planes. As long as we can get to the games, as long as we eating well, as long as we can go out there and do what we do best. I mean, that's just the best part about it. For me, and being around a good group of people.
That's important. You keep talking about the relationships, and let's go back to that transition where we cut you off as you went from Lakeland and the Magic to San Antonio, and it was another time because of these relationships and connections. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Because the next
Yes.
step.
Yeah. So Chad Forgier, like I was really cool. I used to go up to the Magic as well, and the head video coordinator was Quentin Crawford. Um, and he really took me in and tried to help me move up the ladder in the NBA, even to this day as well. Um, so anyway, Chad Q hit me up and said that Chad, put his name on the line in San Antonio. They had an opening in the video room, and I was kind of skeptical of it, but it's just like because I really liked the environment that I was in Lakeland and the people that I worked with, and I just was like, you can't turn down San Antonio and pop like come on now. So of course I went on the interview, and before we flew home, they offered me the job, and I was moving to San Antonio, man. So it was just wild, man. Crazy experience.
So you go from working in the G League over to now working for the king of the NBA. Some say Pop. How was that transition for you within those first couple of months? Or was it?
Well, I will say for sure it was very difficult for me in their video room. Uh because it's serious business in the NBA. Like the video room is, those are the people that they're the oil to the engine. Like if you don't have that, you can't, what I'm saying? Like it's hard for, people might not think much about it, but without them, it's just like, the team don't get what they need. The coaches don't get what they need to prepare the team for games. So it's just like really wild. So just their whole process. So it's like every team has a different video room philosophy, learning path, or how they workflow. So it just took me a while to you know actually get a hold of how they do things, like the workflow and everything. Everything's really detailed. So it was almost like going to school for a video room. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
That's
it,
awesome. Yeah.
it,
What,
it
what
actually
are some of those things? What are some of those pieces of the flow of the Spurs video room or the expectation from above?
well, I mean, so we had to do, I'll give you an example. So we had to do the scouts. So like it was five of us in the video room. So we all work with a coach on their scouts. So I work with Becky Hammon, and but it's crazy. They signed me with Becky Hammon. I used to work in women's basketball. Like what's the
Right.
coincidence? So it's just like but scouts, as far as like misspelled errors, like Pop would find a misspelling in a heartbeat. Like it was, I mean, like just one typo, like he would find it out of all the pages. And it's just like, that was just a learning path, so a process for me. So it's just like you look at something so many times, and it's just like, oh, this is great work right here. And then it's like, oh, dang, I done messed up something. I misspelled Valanciunas or something. So it's just like, it was good for me and humbling and learning, for me to go through that and just really put your head down and just work, 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 because that's all they're about, man.
Spell it right.
Spell it right.
Spell it right. Spell it right. Get the stats right. Everything. So, then that's what I always have with me now, and can take with me going forward. And, just made the best out of the situation, built, great relationships with the players, the coaches, and just tried to, like I said, learn as much as I could.
And high standards, always those high
Yeah.
standards.
I've
I
Hmm.
got
mean, and being around Pop was great. He allowed us to sit in and not the coaches meeting, but like team film, which was just like just to see it, see him go in on how he does behind closed doors is just outstanding to me.
That's awesome. I've got two quick questions. One, with you working hand in hand with Becky Hammon. She has such a big name. A lot of people, she'll be a head coach. Some people say, and some people get a little mad about it. How is she day to day? You worked right there with her. I mean, tell the people listening how good she is and some of the things you learned from her.
But I mean, what I really enjoyed about Becky was she was, I felt like in a video room, like you want to deal with somebody who's going to allow you to actually grow too as a coach, because that's where you're trying to get to one day. So if I really, what I enjoyed about her is she allowed me to, like, if I watch 5 games of the Houston Rockets or whoever we might be playing, that's our scout. She would come to me and like, what did you see?
Hmm.
And then that would be a segue to talking and being able to show, my mindset around basketball and what I saw in the game, what I saw as far as player personnel, and and just open her mind up to how she's going to attack a scout. So um, she's a basketball mind for sure. And the players loved her. It's just to see, like, I mean, yeah, she's a woman, but she's good at what she does, so it really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
She knows her
So
hoops, right? That's what
that's all.
yeah,
counts.
for
That's all.
sure.
Well, the other quick question I was going to ask with you jumping from, women to G League to NBA, I know you're in the film room, but how much interaction did you have with the players and how did that change from interaction before at the other two places?
Oh no, quite. I mean, every day, and of course until Corona. But man, for sure, like being on the court, like in the video room at least, is that's your job. Like your job is to go out there and help with workouts, facilitate workouts, rebound, play defense. If you got guys who don't play very much, you got to get the work in. Sometimes you have to go out there and play 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, whatever it takes. Guys coming back from rehab, and those things, as former players, you still very much so competitive. Like this, who cares whether they're in the NBA or not? So you talk your junk, you have fun with them, and that's how you build the relationships. And same thing was when I was in Louisville. I mean, I was with girls, but if I played against them, I just treat them like player and just try not to get them hurt. So and that was just my process all the way up. Um, from women's basketball at Louisville to the G League to the NBA. So
And the NBA, you had the G League action, then the Spurs, and what was the next move?
next move was the Los Angeles Lakers. It's just funny as so the position that I got in San Antonio was they call it quote unquote another intern type of position. So it was only for a year, and I went into that and just tried to do my best I could for the year, and I came home and moved back to Atlanta and was able to, they were fortunate enough, I was fortunate enough for them to send me to Vegas for Summer League for a few days. And out there, I was able to, in Orlando, Coach Vogel had got fired and he took a year off. And some of the guys on staff went other places. Some people didn't get jobs. But anyway, went out there and was able to see my guy, Quentin Crawford, and Frank had already got the job with the Lakers, and he was actually the video coordinator for the Charlotte Hornets. Um, and he was like trying to get on staff with Frank, and so what happened was he got on staff, and one of the other guys that was in Orlando, Drew Anthrup, was on staff in Orlando. wound up getting a job as a head video coordinator with the Lakers, and Quinn wound up getting the last assistant coach position with the Lakers. And I had told them, I'm looking for something, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe go back to the G League or something. But was fortunate enough, they called me like a week before Labor Day. And it was like, yo, we got this last opening. It's not very much pay, high risk, high reward type of situation. It's only going to be for a year. Um, but our plan is to get you in here. We know you got experience from San Antonio. We know you from Orlando. We know you can get on the court, be active. We know you can do the video work. And I said, hey, you said Los Angeles Lakers. Frank said, absolutely, Tony, come on out. Oh yeah, I'm there. So that's what happened, man.
High risk, high reward, and the reward really was about the highest it could be. Huh? Tell us about
For
that.
sure. For sure. I mean, it's just so crazy just being there, around the whole program. Better yet, being there with LeBron and just the whole coaching staff and just being able to be around all the guys, Anthony Davis, which everybody was like really cool, So the video room, all of us, we were just like really tight. And that was just, I didn't really get to experience that so much in San Antonio. But everybody, I like the environment. I really enjoy the environment where, you work hard, work hard, work hard, but there's still a little lightness in there. You can still have fun a little bit, and get work done. So it was just a incredible situation last year. I mean, despite all the crazy things that happened last year, for me to see uphand and in person, it was very wild. So least to say, but
Well,
hey, we came out on top.
the obvious is the championship, but before that, you had you were there obviously as the Kobe Bryant passing occurred. I mean, how was that being around all that and just I mean, I'm sure are you a Kobe fan? Were you always a Kobe fan?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, of course, I'm an MJ fan for sure, and then of course being around LeBron now, it's just like, I just appreciate the greatness for
Uh,
sure. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, just I Kobe Gianna finally got Kobe to come to a game. I used to walk around with this poster in my bag so I can have Kobe signed if he ever came to practice. Um, but he finally came to a game and I saw him, and like everybody just flocked to Kobe, and I didn't really get a chance to go meet him because I'm trying to stay professional and do what I do without trying to be too Dana is Kobe over there. But after the game, him and Gianna was around the locker room, and I did lock eyes with Kobe and not shake my head to him, say what's up or whatever. But didn't really get to meet him. But it was just wow when once everything did happen. It was just the whole city, the whole world,
Mhm.
took it for a storm. It ain't been the same since.
Yeah, that's
So.
the truth. So then, with all the COVID stuff that hit afterwards, how was that for the film room? Because I guess you guys didn't go to the bubble. So
Yeah.
were y'all sending stuff? Were you doing everything?
Yeah, so it's so crazy, man. We were actually about to play Houston,
Hmm.
and things were just getting crazy on the news, and it's just like what's going on with the whole corona. So I'm like literally prepping for Houston, like getting all my edits done, getting the scout packet together for coaches, and next thing you know, I get a tweet from Woj, this NBA season has been suspended. I'm just like, okay, what's next? So anyway, I just decided we stayed there for a couple of days and worked out and just tried to be, not knowing what was going to happen. And next thing you know, I was just like, man, I'm gonna go on head home to Atlanta. Did a couple projects in between, not, still not knowing what was going to happen for the coaching staffs. We used to get some stuff done, but they were trying to limit the amount of people that were allowed in the bubble.
Hmm.
And so me and a couple other guys, we didn't make it in the bubble, but we still work from home. So, just as far as like still cutting games
Mhm.
and making sure the coaches had what they needed, sending emails back and forth, sending edits back and forth. Try to be awake or be available while they're in coaches meetings or in practice, just
Mhm.
in case something may come up. And that was pretty much it. So I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed it because the last few years I haven't really been able to been around my family this much. I don't even remember the last time. So
Mhm.
it's been pretty cool to be around them and be able to do my work from home and with no movement. Of course, the goal was to get a full time position this year, but with no movement, and then the NBA starting when it did, it was like no college jobs available. So they allowed us to come back, and this year I'll be working from home again, doing the same exact thing. Just working with the coaching staff, and here I work with Jason Kidd and Quinn Crawford. So whatever they need done, I just do my best to be available and just learn this new way of life, so to speak.
Well, it sounds like that philosophy of do your best and be available has served you well, has put you in a good spot. I'm going to come back to two things that you said. One is that's a way to find the positives with the pandemic. You're enjoying being around your family. You hadn't had a chance as a player and as a coach, as a trainer to do that as much as you have. And it's been a good thing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Definitely enjoyed it. And my niece, she's just getting so big, so I'm glad to be here to see that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You mentioned Lakers and being around greatness all the time, right? You're surrounded by it from the Kobe experiences and what he means to the organization and to basketball, to LeBron, and the list can go on. Does it just become an everyday thing and you get used to it when you were there, or are people always in awe?
No, I think you get used to it. I mean, once I got there, being around and seeing LeBron every day was just like, oh dang, that's LeBron, yeah. And then after a couple of days, it went away. But I mean, until he said my name at practice, I was just like, did LeBron just say my name?
Say my
you
name,
know,
say my
uh,
name. Yeah.
no, so no, like so periodically, we'd be on the sideline, wiping sweat off, refereeing or whatever needs to be done at practice, helping with drills. But one day, coach threw me in and said, "Tony, go do something. I don't know, just go fill in or do something in a drill or something." And once he said my name, it's like LeBron said. Next, thing you know, Anthony said it, and I was like, "Oh wow,
So
pay
wait,
attention."
this cannot be an off the beaten path episode. This guy Tony Dukes is on the court with LeBron. It's over our level, Corey. I don't know if we can post
No,
it with this title.
I
no,
love
no. It was a great experience, man. He's really cool. It was a great experience, man.
It's great to hear.
now. How was it with when you guys played the Sixers? Were you able to connect with Kevin Young, being too
Yeah,
close
then
to Craig?
did it? Yeah, they actually got a picture of us, man. It was. I think. Have you seen it?
I
We were.
may have. I'll have to.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, definitely do.
But we were talking prior to the game. Every year I see Kevin every year, so we always get a chance to talk and see how they do things, see how we do things, and he's just he's always been cool with me ever since I met him when I believe I was still in Louisville when I met KY. So
That's awesome.
he's just always been really cool with me, man. Try to help me out the best he can.
Well, we
Clayton
joke that
State turning
everything
out the NBA talent.
well, we joke here, Searle, that everything runs through Coach G, but the off the beaten path is starting to build a database now with Tony, KY. We had Ehrman and Beckett, so we've had some NBA connected guys on here now.
For real.
So
Hey man, I'm just trying to grow to get to those guys level, So that's it.
that's good stuff. Well, hey, we always end the show, Tony. We do some quick hitters. We'll ask you some stuff, random type stuff. And if you got good stories or whatever, feel free to do it. But we usually go pretty quick with them. So I'll start us off. I'm always a foodie. So I'm gonna throw out a couple of spots and see what your favorite places were. What's your favorite place to eat when you were in San Antonio?
Torchy's Tacos.
Oh, nice Torchy's tacos. I have to look that one up, sir.
Yeah, what kind of taco? Are you a fish taco? Are you a carnitas? What are you getting?
I like chicken.
Good
like
Yeah.
stuff.
I like. Okay, so what about in Louisville? What was your favorite spot to hit?
You know what? They actually have some here in Atlanta now, but Joella's chicken.
I like it. I like it. All
Yeah.
right, and I'm gonna go one more. Now that you were out in LA this year, where was your spot to eat in LA?
You know, I've been to a couple of taco trucks, but I would probably still have to say Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle.
Nice.
Loving the chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
I'm a chicken guy. I don't really eat pork or beef like that, so
I got you. I got you. And then another one is who's the best player when you were in college that you ever played against, in your opinion?
pass.
Pass.
Mm,
Hey, come back to that one. Let me think about that one.
All right. Well, while you're thinking about that one, I'm gonna give you my favorite question I always ask, and then I'll let Searle knock some out. Give me the craziest, wildest place you played with fans, and then the second part of that question is give me the craziest gym you've ever played in, maybe even the worst gym.
Um, for me, the most memorable, I would change that to memorable.
Mm,
Would probably be Michigan.
okay.
Playing against Tim Hardaway Jr. You know, that year, it was my first year playing against a high majors school like that, and just to see the Michigan coming at me like that was just like, man, this is where Fab Five used to be at. Like, you
Yeah.
know, this is crazy. So, and the crowd was, you know, was kind of crazy too. But yeah, I would say that was probably my best experience, even though we didn't win at all. We
Yeah.
got killed, but it was just definitely a great experience.
Well, what about the worst gym? You were a JUCO guy, so I know you've been in some rough ones. Give me the worst gym,
Worst gym.
or maybe even a Clayton County old gym. A lot of those old gyms aren't around anymore, but you played at
Ooh,
some.
the worst gym. I say Waycross. No, just kidding. I just kidding. um, yeah.
What
Let's
about the
see.
old Forest
I
Park?
know. You know what? I would probably say perimeter. That just it was just dark and dingy in there. Just no lights.
Yeah.
That was the worst school colors ever. I'm glad they turned that to Georgia State.
That was a big
he went
rivalry.
with the worst school colors ever, right?
Yeah.
All right, your go, sir. What questions you got? And he's going to come
All right.
back and answer the best player at the end.
We won't let him off the hook for that one just yet. As somebody in the video room or on the sidelines, what is the best advice that you have received from Pop, from Vogel, from Q, from one of these mentors that you've had along the way?
Um, I will tell you a common ground. Just for me, is just to continue being detail oriented, and you know, no task is bigger than you. You know what I'm saying? My head coach at Louisville, Jeff Walls. You know, it's no task is too big. So I mean, I don't care how big I get, even if I become a assistant or head coach one day. Like, I mean, if I see a wet spot, I'm not gonna be like, hey, come over here and wipe this up. If I can get a towel and wipe it up, I'm gonna do it. So
Yeah,
no
you're not
task is
gonna
too
be too
big.
big for the task. I love it.
No no
All
no
right.
task is too big.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
No.
The advice that you'll pass on to others. Okay,
Yeah,
good stuff.
absolutely.
As somebody in the video room, you're looking at plays and plays and plays. What is one of your favorite or most effective ones that you've seen? Give us a name, who runs it, and a brief layout verbally.
Well, you know, now thinking back on how we ran things at Clayton State with Coach G, it was very much so pro style. And a lot of things that we ran there, they run in the league. Something as simple as just a away action, Seattle action, whatever you want to call it. Stagger screens down out of transition and just open freelance type of play. Even playing out of a horns or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, Single pin downs just to get some type of action into motion. That's more. I love that type of playing. Of course, you have your different type of sets, but uh, I really like just to be able to put something basic out and let guys go out there and work. If they
Okay.
can do that the best they can.
You're talking like somebody who wants to be calling those plays down the road.
Hey, hey, I'll have a few in the bag. I save a couple of those special ones in the bag after timeouts or something.
I love it. I love it. How about this? Toughest team, or more so, toughest coach to scout in the NBA?
I wasn't. I've heard stories. I didn't have the Utah Jazz, but I heard their program is their system is really. I didn't because you're focused on everybody else's stuff. I mean your own scouts, so I didn't really get to dive deep in what they ran and things like that. But just hearing stories, like everyone's like, man, Utah is just like out of control with how they run things. They call things differently, things that you commonly hear, there's the different terminologies and names that they call things. So it's just a different set for them.
I hear you. Okay. And last one for me here. You talk about the Lakers winning the championship. They're in the bubble. You're doing scouts, and you didn't have the Jazz, but the way things shook out, you had most of the scouts of the teams in the playoffs for the Lakers. How much of a grind was that? You had to be ready. You had to be on top of everything there, and it worked out pretty well. Your scouts were quite effective, weren't they?
Yes, I mean, hey, I just do the part and let the coaches do their job and come up with a game plan, just to make sure they have everything they need to possibly build this game plan. Uh, but no, I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, I just try to keep my phone on loud just in case I get a fall asleep and I get a text message late at night, or a phone call. And if I fall asleep and I don't hear it, I wake up in the middle of the night. And if I see something, I just try to hurry up and grind it out, man. Because I just
Yeah.
think it'll go a long way eventually. People be like, man, you do you ever sleep? As a video guy, personally, I don't think you do. I mean, if you do, it's not, it's a nap here, it's a nap there. It's nothing straight, but that's what we signed up for. So
Well, you said it when we started talking at the beginning of the podcast that the video room, the video coordinators are the oil that keeps that engine running. So that's a
for
perfect
sure,
example right there in the playoff run, man.
Like,
absolutely.
well, one more thing, knowing you and knowing your family, I know your parents are a big part of your life, and they were always the best, man. I used to love seeing them at games, and just always around, and just great people, great family. I kind of just wanted to say that on the podcast, but I actually have a question through that. Do you think back, just coming up, is there anything you wanted to share about their influence on your journey that you had?
Oh, for sure. I mean, without my parents, man, and their support over the years, um, I wouldn't be the person I am to this day. So it's been a lot of times, hard times where it's like you continue working, and then it's like nothing's working out for you. But as long as you got that structure at home, that support behind you to keep on pushing you, try to lead you in the right direction, man, it makes you feel good. And it's been times even as a player, even it's been times working in a video room where it's just like, man, I don't want to do this no more. And then you get the people that steer you in the right direction, get you back on track. So without them, uh, that definitely wouldn't be to this point in my life. Even being considered for jobs moving forward in the NBA. So Definitely appreciate them, and even all my extended family, man. Everybody support, uh, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody, man. It's just been incredible over the years. Family, friends, coaches, so I appreciate everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're gonna finish it up. We'll let you off that best player unless you came up with one.
Man, you know what? It's so many great players. I can't put a title on it,
Mm.
for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's been so many. I can't.
That's all right. That's all
And
right.
you're talking about as a player, not just
Right.
playing against.
Who was the
Right.
hardest person to guard for you
Mm.
at the college ranks? Who was somebody that you loved that challenge, but they were really good?
You know what? The problem with that was I was not really. I transferred so many times. It was just like, man, I played somebody 1 year, one time, one time, one time. So it's just like
Yeah.
I never really got a chance to build that type of
Mm.
oh, I can't wait to see you next year type of
Yeah, the
thing.
rivalry going. Mhm.
Yeah. So it was just difficult when it comes to that. So, but definitely played against and with a lot of great players, man. So uh all of them, they know what's up.
Exactly. You smoothly talked your way out of that. That's
I
good
like it.
work.
I like it. Definite head coach soon with that kind of talk.
I
But
appreciate it.
hey, Tony, before we close out, we always let who's on here, if they have anything that they wanted to say or whatever before we move on and close out the show. Is we allow our guests to do that. So, kind of your floor if there's anything you wanted to add or say or something you didn't get to cover or something we didn't ask or whatever.
Man, I just like really appreciate, you all even having this platform and doing this for people that's going to be watching and tuning in. I hope y'all continue to grow with it. Hopefully my story inspires whoever who may, you know, maybe if it's just one thing, that you can take with you, old, young, it doesn't matter, a player or not. So um, because I know I look forward to taking things from the next person just as well as people trying to learn from me. So I just appreciate you all doing this, and thanks for having me on.
Tony, thank you. And yes, there's so many great bits of advice that people can take. And just hearing your story has been inspiring for me, for Corey, I'm sure. So thank you for being on with us.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate y'all.
Mm.
You got it. And for everybody watching, listening, make sure you follow along on the social media platforms too, the Instagram, Off Beaten Path Podcast, and also the Twitter with the Off Beaten Path with the underscore. And that's about it for today. Tony Dukes, LA Lakers,
All right.
Video Room, Morrow High School, and everything in between.
Yes, sir.
It's the first guest we've had that I've seen come up from fifth or sixth grade all the way to now, and
That's crazy.
awesome. I wrote down a couple of things he said I really liked, and players attacking and challenging coaches to better them, not just the coaches bettering the players. It was the one I'll definitely use probably tomorrow in practice. But I love it, man. And we're a show for those who want to coach, those who used to coach, those who are coaches, those who follow coaches and support coaches, and those who hire and fire the coaches. We appreciate you being on, Tony, and we appreciate you guys listening out there, and let's keep growing.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.